Yes, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Post-Match Podcast. Actually, the next time we do one of these, it will be a post-match podcast. I can't wait for that. That's fucking mega, isn't it? As we do play Duckingfield next week. So that's something to look forward to. That I'm not at the same time. It's going to be interesting. Today, I've got joining me Alex, who I hope you know, Karthik from Twitter, and we've also got Pete as well, who's one of our coaches and analysts. You have to get a bit closer to that mic.
It's not going away, is it?
We've got some questions. We asked the Patreon group for some questions. But before we get into the questions, just wanted everyone's thoughts on the news that we got on Saturday last week. My phone literally hasn't stopped. I've booked in, I think, 6 friendlies. And I've got probably another 20 or so that I've not even looked at or opened yet because... well, there's a couple I have looked at and gone... because we've also got that professional team from Wales.
That's mad.
And I'm like, don't think we're anywhere near your level, my mate. So but and I said that to him, and he was like, well, our manager's only 19.
Amazing. All right.
The fuck does that have to do with anything?
Manager's 19.
Wales, innit?
Yeah.
So, yeah, thoughts on Saturday's announcement, everyone?
Yeah,
I've got to get close to that.
Is this close enough?
That'll do.
Okay. So, basically, football's back, isn't it? So, happy days for everyone. It makes a nice change as well, because obviously having to plan sessions for socially distanced stuff and whatnot, it's all new to everybody. At least it was anyway, and now we've got a little bit of contact back and everything. I'm buzzing for it. To get back into the full swing of things.
Well, Al, obviously you played last night as we're recording. First thoughts on contact being back?
Good. It was actual football, yeah, which makes a difference. Passing drills and stuff like that. But it's good to be playing something that resembles a game and things like that. That's what we've been missing, and I'm looking forward to doing it even more. That's the big thing.
On the training session thing, we have now sorted out what's going on with memberships for this channel. So you can be a supporter of this channel, or you can be a member of this channel if you want to support the channel. And we've got unedited training clips are going in off our Veo camera, so you can literally watch us in training. We'll also be having, when we post the highlight videos and stuff like that, there'll be a little couple of seconds with me at the end giving my thoughts, maybe one of the players giving their thoughts. Well, those unedited full-length interviews and videos will be going in the membership. So every week I expect 2 or 3 videos to drop for members in there. So if you want the full what's going on with the team, you want to see us in training.
That's class.
Really good.
So if for those that don't know, Veo's basically it's on my desk in there, but I'm not going getting it. It's basically looks like an alien's head. It's got a 2 4K cameras that sort of sit like this, and they see the entire pitch. You upload it, and what did it take? Maybe an hour or so after being uploaded, it's processed it, and it uses artificial intelligence. This sounds like a lie, but it does, and it works, doesn't it? That's the mad thing, is it works, and it also asks you, was this half time? Was this a goal? And then you tell it yes, and it puts it into the highlights of like start of the game, halftime, goal. So the camera acts like a one-man film crew because it's looking at both sides of the pitch at a time. What it gives you after an hour or so is an edited video that follows the ball like a cameraman from the gantry view, which is really useful. Obviously, Pete, you're going to be dealing with that software quite a bit on the analysis side of things. Have you had a mess of it? Because I had a bit of a draw on it earlier.
So I've not really put the annotations on it, but the whole thing, like where you can move the camera to see what you want on the pitch, so even if the ball's up one end, you can spin the camera around to see what like a goalkeeper or something's doing or whatever. So it's a great.
Because that was the thing when I was watching, thinking, I know that's good, but there is people who's not looking over there and things like that when the ball.
No, you can spin it.
You
zoom out, you can
see
spin
the
it.
entire thing. Nobody can get away with anything now. So even if a centre back's walking up the pitch or something, when the ball's up the other end, you can catch them out for it.
It's very useful for us to have as well. Not just because it gives you that more professional football angle. Whereas, obviously, we're all at 5.5 feet high in terms of eye level.
Speak for yourself.
Eye level. from where we're viewing it from on a sideline, where that elevation just gives you a better appreciation of what's happening, the patterns, the shapes, that sort of stuff. And I think it's going to be a massive tool for making sure we do the right thing.
It is, well, because I had a quick watch it back this morning, and just the goal that we had in that Ronaldo goal, you saw the short clip of where he took it off the lad, but seeing where that came from and the fact that it was their free kick and things like that, and they've played, and how they've sort of someone else's movement meant that they had to play it back, and he kind of stitched them up with that, which then led to the press and then led to the goal, is something you wouldn't be able to do, and you might miss if you're just doing a normal session. You might miss that, all right, just dispossess the ball and it's that lad's fault, but by the fact that you can actually look at the sequence of event that occurred to it is much better, for us to look at again and for you guys as well.
I'm going to ask Adam to throw in this clip. And that was that clip. Basically, this clip, because I'm going to ask Pete about this clip now. Okay. This highlight here we saw this early in the game. We made a decision to move. One of the new lads that came to training, he just came and said, do you mind if I join in? Literally a few weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't know where he played. The guy's a fucking absolute specimen for a 17-year-old. And we was like, well, he's athletic. Where the hell do you think we can fit him? We had an idea of trying him out in the 6, didn't we? That highlight... How many times have you watched that highlight?
I've watched a lot of the footage, so I don't sleep much. So I can watch stuff back quite a lot, and to be honest, Adam's been really impressive over the past couple of weeks and stuff, and putting him into that 6 role, I think he's really going to shine
Alex
with
that
it.
he bullies in the clip, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah,
you got bullied by a 17-year-old.
It's all right.
He steamrolls past Alex. He takes 1 or 2 touches, and then he lets Rivaldo go with a perfectly weighted ball. There's a few things on that clip I want to work on, but obviously we hadn't talked about shape prior to that 11 that we played there. But like Jay's positioning's wrong, Adam's positioning's wrong, and you think if I just corrected those, and even with Rivaldo starting from out to in, Luke might not have seen him. But there's so much going on in that clip. Connor's positioning and recovery is fantastic. I think if a slower centre-half's there, I reckon Rivaldo probably gets a shot off.
Probably.
Because he shepherds him out to the side, and I think if that threat isn't there, I think Rivaldo comes inside earlier. And I think that encapsulates what I was so happy with in that session. There was physicality, there was people competing, there was good things, there was bad things. I just thought that 11 seconds really showed me we're doing some things right and we've got things to work on, and that's what we're all about.
I think that's one of the best things about video analysis is that you can sort of just get like an 11-second clip, like you say, and the more you watch it, the more you see. But like from all different perspectives and the different ways of analysing it and stuff, and obviously, like you said, then like Connor's body position, he shepherded them out wide, stuff like that.
Connor's on his toes, side on straight away. I think the other 2 defenders in the clip is Daniel and Gareth, and both of them are square. And immediately Connor's side on, and he's aware. And I think he might be looking the wrong direction initially. I think he might be looking inside. I think he's looking towards the other centre half and the other fullback rather than where the threat is, which is Rivaldo. But he spins it round.
But again, he's probably looking there to see if there's danger, and then he goes like that. That's the thing about video analysis. The more you watch it back, the more you can see Alex get bullied by a 17-year-old. So the more things
you can keep watching it. Yeah.
Just replay that for us.
Yeah.
Again.
Sorry, that's why I shaved. I look more like I'm 17-year-old now. Anyway,
Don't
so
ever
that's
shave again.
Ever.
Like I said to you last night, I want to see you full Aaron Kaufman.
I might not go that way. I'm never doing this again. But I've said this before.
Up and
it's
stuff
happened.
So we can't get called out on the video. It's not me.
No one knows who it
Not
is.
me.
That guy's
Yeah,
got a beard.
Who's
Yeah,
it? Alex? No,
no,
that's
not me. I always have a beard. It can't have been me.
But yeah, I was very impressed with the initial 11v11. We just picked 2 even teams and let them have at it, and it was great to see the competition. Rivaldo was obviously a new player that turned up yesterday. Fucking hell, how fast is he?
He's strong as well.
Yeah,
An athlete, that lad,
and
yeah.
it looks like he wants to compete, and he's very aggressive. And I think we need unhinged nutters like that in the team, to be honest, because I think we might be in danger of being a bit technical and a bit nice, and I hope that isn't the case.
I think we've got a few secret ones that could be.
Yeah, I think Connor's a serial killer.
Yeah.
And we've got some questions anyway, so let's get into some of the questions, because one of them was on that. Notch says, what was your first impression of Rivaldo and comparisons to his brother and his prospects? What do you think?
It's a very different person, because Ronaldo, even though both quick... Twins, yeah. Both obviously athletic, but Rivaldo looks a bit more leggy kind of thing, but looks more... when he went, it was more powerful, whereas Ronaldo is... more closer touch, things like that. He's still got, obviously, you've seen the clip of the goal, the pace he's got there.
He's not slow,
but it's just 2 very different people, where one's sort of going to sprint and bully people, whereas Ronaldo wants to get the ball, face people up and go. And it's very different people, but really, both good players.
Yeah, I think there's a place. I think Ronaldo's up there for possibly the best player in the squad. Rivaldo is probably going to be, if he is part of the first team, and it's an if at the moment, if he's part of the first team, I think we were sort of touching on it earlier, weren't we? And actually, I was talking to Ronaldo about it last night. I can see him being an impact 9, maybe. Yeah. His pace is, it's literally elite level sprinting pace.
That's what he does.
Asset, yeah,
that's literally what it does.
Yeah. So I imagine if we're struggling, our plan B might be, because obviously Adam's a little bit more of a false 9. He's a fox in the box. Maybe in a team that's a very physical team, well, not just far better than us, but they've got a bit of a, an older back line maybe. Yeah. We just go a little bit into the channels ourselves and we're like, Rivaldo, go fucking chase that, mate.
I think a lot of it as well is like...
You grinning at?
I like the thought of that.
Again, the pitches we're going to be playing...
Who's beating him?
The pitches we're going to be playing on
Dwayne
as well.
Chambers?
Yeah.
That's going to make a massive difference. I mean, we chatted about it last night. We're playing on the park and it's not the ideal conditions to be pantsing the ball about and things like that. And when you've got a lot of technical players, that's where some kind of...
Yeah, Jav Ronaldo.
Yeah, kind of shied away last night in certain places. But if you've got someone like Rivaldo where you can literally just go stick one over the top for him. And if we're going to be playing, we're going to be playing in November in Manchester, we're going to be playing on heavy, muddy pitches some of the time. You may need to have that kind of second option where you're not be able to... There's going to be a bit of that.
Get up there.
Exactly. So it's good to have that option. And we've not really got that physical player that you can do that where you're putting up for him to win a header.
No, we don't.
We may have that where you can
a big target man that can hold it. So our other option is just this most aggressive hand grenade of a man that's... You're just not beating him.
No.
You're just not. You literally need to find the 3 fastest people in England to beat the guy.
I mean, I think Luke did a pretty good job last night of battling with him.
I loved that.
It was class but again, there's a couple of times he probably gets fouls most of the time. What Luke was ended up having to do to kind of to stop him.
Luke would have picked up 4 yellows in half an hour last night.
Yeah,
he's one where he went right through the back of Adam, and he just like.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So, like I said, you can't get away with that as much. You will do a little bit in Sunday League, but in this kind of division, but not as much as Skin do.
One for Pete here, I reckon. How are we going to combat being a small team against massive bastards in the league that we're playing in?
Well, quite simply, we're not going to try and battle them in the air and stuff. If we're against a team of big sort of centre-half type of team, there's no point in us trying to put the ball in the air and compete that way. We've got a team that's absolutely rapid, that's very technically decent, so we'll keep the ball on the floor, play around them. In terms of defending against it, though, like if we've got a team and they sort of do the old Blackburn Chris Samba tactic where they get the biggest player in the box and just keep pumping it in, then I guess we're just going to have to stick it out and go pound for pound, and hopefully we don't have a goalkeeper that's too shy and will come get the ball.
Yeah. There's going to be obvious weaknesses in both the system and in both the 11s that we play. It's always about give and take. If we're going to go small and technical and fast, we're going to give up physicality and height. And that necessarily isn't something that's a choice. It's more a case of working with what we've got.
Yep.
In the other end of the pitch, when we're under the cosh for that, we're going to have to come up with some tactics ourselves and some methodology for, okay, we can't compete. Do we go mega high then to keep them away from our box, try and win second balls rather than first balls, and know that if they do get in behind us, well, the ball will be on the floor if they get in behind us and we back ourselves to catch it. It's risky, but it might have to be how we end up going with it, and that's what's going to be the interesting thing in it.
When we were talking the other day about, like, you know, midfield blocks and stuff, if a team wants to put the ball in the box, we're more likely to high press them, so they don't really have that option to attack that way.
We sort of touched on that yesterday, didn't we, in terms of in the wide areas, our defensive shape. So that could be something we go towards. Just little stuff like that. I think in terms of going forward as well, the patterns that we start to work on will be quite vital in terms of playing against different kinds of opponents, because we can set things up where, okay, we go to this if this isn't working, or we go into that, or when we're defending against this kind of opposition, this is what we do. So it's just about building the understanding. I think that's what we're going to be working on over the next few weeks.
I think there's going to be an archetype of this level of team, and they're going to play a variation on one thing, probably, more or less. I think if we get good at defending what we know is the opposite of ourselves, if we come up against ourselves, then I'd hope, especially from seeing it in training a couple of times a week, we're all right dealing with that. But I think the thing that we need to figure out how to deal with is the 6'5" centre half.
It's going to be a challenge,
and that's what these friendlies are going to be as well. That's what it's going to be trying to figure out is how we do up against these lads. Duckingfield will be the test, because
it's the literal benchmark in Manchester.
That's
one
what
of
they
the
do.
one of the things about that is, like, even with the trial day, we don't know if we're
That's what I
going
was
to
gonna
get
say,
like John Coffey walk through the door one day, or if
Or
we're
Shaq.
yeah, or like if we're going to have like a big 6'5", 6'6" player, that might be our secret weapon sometimes, and you know, we don't know who's going to come through the door on trial day. But
Is he standing on a chair? No.
Yeah.
I suppose you've still got to keep an open mind, haven't you, about what you want to set up with, because you don't know what's going to turn up.
We're going to have 2 squads of 25. There's place in there for a big bastard
Somewhere.
or 3. You know what I mean? Like, there's space in there. Like, when it gets to November, December, and Quagmire pitches, we might be playing on a 4G. But not everyone plays on a 4G.
No.
What you've got to hope is by the time that you get your cloggers onto a 4G, the likes of Jay, the likes of Jav, the likes of Ronaldo are going to be so fucking fast, so quick on the floor, that we just terrorise them.
Yeah.
And you've seen it with Manchester City in the Premier League, that if you can get good one-touch triangles in and around the box, you can carve a team open.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of thing that we're looking to do.
But their test was going to Stoke away, even that's still a carpet. It's not like going to Drosden Park playing. It's a completely different level.
No, there's proper dog shit alley park.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
We're going to be dealing with that big time.
Yeah.
And then that's on me to select the right team for the right conditions.
Exactly.
Matthew says, have you got a destroyer in the team, or are you playing a Carrick-style holding midfielder?
Well, we touched on Aaron. He did quite a good job yesterday, and he was quite nervous about doing that job. But I thought he had a bit of physicality about him as well.
Really?
I thought he did. Well, I mean, he should do.
A bit of physicality?
Yeah, he was quite good. He's impressive. A Carrick style, I don't know if we have like a...
I think Ryan might be able to do that from what we saw. But I think we need that experience and that talk and that calmness at centre-half.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
he was quite good bringing the ball out, to be fair. He was quite technical.
If you go on, who's that? That was the guy that got caught in possession for Ronaldo's goal.
Yeah.
Which was literally the one, but it was literally the one mistake he made. And he hadn't played football in 3 years.
3
Really?
years?
Yeah, I mean, I said to you
He's
last
not
night.
lost it, has he?
No,
No.
when he come on,
he just needs to sort his fitness out. But he was at Oldham with Ronaldo.
Oh, right, okay.
yeah, you could
That's why
see,
they know each other.
yeah, you could see he was quality. It's just a talk straight away. I think we looked at. I mean, I was on the opposite team for starting, and we were kind of just thinking, where was the target and stuff. And as soon as the game kicked off, and you heard him talking, you could, he was shifting people over, making sure that was kind of nullified. He switched onto that straight away. So, yeah, top player. Hopefully, if you can get him back fit and stuff like that, he will be very, very good.
I think Keno will.
Yeah, he definitely will. Yeah.
Keno's
That
getting
was
launched
interesting.
in.
Keno made it was a sarcastic off the cuff comment, but he was bang on in what he said because we had a couple of muscle injuries yesterday. One was Mason and one was Rivaldo, and we'd spoken about that. Joe, with lockdown, are we looking to see? Are we expecting some muscle injuries? Joe, this, that, and the other. And Keno just went almost like, not my fucking fault. Everyone who's been training is fine, and he was right.
True.
Yeah.
Rivaldo and Mason had their first sessions and pulled something.
Yeah.
I think that's a good sign of how much maybe fitter the other lads are then. You know, obviously we don't want people getting injured, but for them to go in the deep end and play against that sort of intensity and come away feeling a bit sore and knocked up, that's good in terms of how much fitter we're getting every week. And then in terms of, like, don't get me wrong, when we played that game yesterday, there were a couple of people who needed to be in and out because it was pretty intense. But then come the second game, started seeing a bit of character from people, and like they were obviously like panting and a bit banged up and whatnot.
Yayan.
Yayan,
for example, like
he was knackered in the first
walked away with battle scars and stuff. And for me, that's like a big thing, like effort and stuff like that. It's great.
Attitude can't be taught, and it can't be trained. Attitude, you either got it or you've not, and I think there's some attitudes that aren't going to see themselves through. I think we all know who we're on about with that one. There's some attitudes where it'll carry more than their talent will.
Definitely.
And we need that sort of character in the squad. It's not necessarily about having the very best players. It's about having the players that can put it together in a team. Like, I'm going to be having a word with Cam. I thought he had not in that sense, although maybe in that sense. I think Cam's got the ability to be able to open up some defences for us.
You saw it in the first minute.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first thing we said was when we had we had Jav on the right wing, and just said, I know Oliver, he's a good lad, but he's not going to be the quickest. And their left centre, and then just went.
He had a very solid game though.
As soon as we can, try that pass.
Within the first 10
And literally, that's the first thing we said. First thing is do that, and Cam did it, and you could see straight away that was going to work.
He's got that ball and that vision in his locker, but he gets a bit Pogba with it sometimes, where he's like, let me just do another Cruyff turn before I throw this in, or let me just do this, or let me try an unnecessary shot. If we can make him simplify his game, he's going to be fucking unreal for us.
I think there's a lot. I mean, I mentioned it to you last night. I think a lot of it is in training these small groups as well. I don't think you've not quite got that trust of everyone around you yet. So you still, it's on me. You know, I need to do my job. You've not trained with everyone, not played with everyone. You don't know what everyone does, and you don't. You know, it's that almost that trust of. There's a few times that Cam yesterday he could have scored a goal if he'd have just passed it off and made the run. He'd have got the ball back very, very quickly, but he didn't. You know, he hung on to it and then took the shot on or tried the worldy pass. And he just needs to go, I'll lend you the ball for a bit, I'll get it back. And yeah, definitely. I mean, I play a lot of five-a-side and stuff with Cam. Cam is very good quality, but there is some frustrating things about him when he plays.
Oh, yes, there is, yeah.
Yes, couple.
You fucking bellend. Lewis says, which Ronaldo does Ronaldo emulate the most?
Not really either of them.
Neither of them.
He feels like completely different.
He's so,
if anything, original Ronaldo.
I'd say Rivaldo's more like that.
I was going to say Rivaldo's
Rivaldo's like
he ain't
a
got the
steam
touch.
train.
Yeah, he ain't got the touch. But you're right, he's just got that pure raw, just, oh my fucking God.
Power and strength and speed and everything else.
Ronaldo's a lot more technical, but he's not as strong as either of them.
Our Ronaldo is, and I love that we've got that. There's only three Ronaldos. There's only three Ronaldos. I fucking love that. But I think our Ronaldo's got a refinement about the way he plays. He can get his head up. I think there's more of a playmaker. Clearly as a finisher.
Oh yeah.
But there's a provider in there. There's assists in there. There's playmaking in there, which is why I like to have him as a left forward, because I think he's going to bring others into the game. And his option, being that left forward, when it comes to him, he can either play it around the corner for someone looking for the cutback, or I'm happy for him to just cut across the box and whip one in himself because I know he's got that on his right foot. Yeah. I don't know which one he resembles the most.
I think. I think probably Cristiano, because he goes towards to the wing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
he's not a straight.
Over,
loves a step over. He's that kind of player, but at the same time, he's not got the It's not physicality. It's not that kind of
But
thing.
that's what both the Ronaldos
But that's what
had.
both
More
the
intelligent.
Ronaldos was. But it's more of a...
All right, then which player do you think he resembles?
Ooh.
Now you see from yesterday and with the full contact training, I've seen a completely different side of him. So he'd come deep for the ball, make about 3 people fall over trying to get near him, and then he'd just dead calmly like jog with it. Nice little pass, move on, take it back, do the same thing again, and it was like it's like a little bit like Bernardo Silva maybe.
Fuck off! Literally just fucking sitting here thinking I was gonna say Bernardo. Yeah. Because it's quick, but it's not Rashford or his brother style speed where it's like pure blister balls to the wall. It's very fast, but it's controlled. Controlled, isn't it? He's very controlled. Well chilled out. I mean, you've met him. He is chilled out. And with his twin brother, not chilled out. If I had to put money on who's fighting first, Rivaldo might be the top of that list.
Definitely.
And Luke's not on the bottom of that list.
They fight each other. They really did yesterday.
Yeah.
I like that though. I like that like intense competitiveness.
It was good, yeah.
Glenn says, what fitness drills do the guys do? Well, obviously Keno's not here, but we've had them doing a lot of sprints. Because that's football, isn't it?
It's mixing up the running. I think that a lot of people did in lockdown and stuff get used to just going and doing 5Ks and just running, you know.
But then it's the other half of the people who eat ice cream and watch Netflix.
Yeah, and there's that as well.
Months.
And there's me. Like I missed a lot of sessions because we were a bit busy here and stuff, and then I had other job and stuff, and it could definitely feel it. You know, it's. And the other thing is,
you did 1,300 calories yesterday.
1,300 calories I burnt yesterday playing.
Jeez.
Which is, it was.
And he wasn't exactly everywhere.
No.
I know.
I was. Anyway, but moving on is the sprints and everything is one thing preparing you, but that's the next bit is that doing 90 minutes, 60 minutes on the 11-a-side pitch and mixing up that running.
Well, Tuesday next week you've got a 60-minute match.
Exactly. You've got to kind of get that fitness into you. It's a very different fitness. Cause it's very easy to just say, look, you're going to do this fitness drill. It's going to take you whatever. You can burn through it, and you know that. But it's doing that run. And then going, fuck, I've got to get back there now. And that change again is a completely different thing.
What I'm thinking of for Tuesday session is I want to try and keep that red 11 that we saw at the end of the session, and they play 30-minute half and a 30-minute half with no changes. But Blues, because Blues is probably a bit more of a second choice 11, Blues will be getting subbed all the way through to try and keep them fresh. Because we're trying to wear down the red, but also get 90 minutes into the legs for the red as well. So I'm hoping that might be a tactic that works a little bit. Where was the next one? Derek Best says, what if we're mint?
We are.
There you go.
We might be.
Yeah.
We're definitely getting bummed on Thursday though.
In the match. Just making sure. You never know.
It's the hardest test we could find.
Yeah.
And we might as well find what the benchmark is. On paper, they're about 7 leagues above us. Considering they're only 9 leagues behind United, that should give you a bit of an idea of the gulfing class. If we're able to compete with them, we'll just put a lot of people on fucking notice.
Yeah.
We are playing a team who's in the Premier Division of our league. That's going to be more of a, right then, what are we about? Because if we win that game, that's more likely than beating Ducky is, because I think that's a very, very, very small chance of that. The only chance I can think we've got of that, one, because obviously they played together for years. The only chance I think we might have is that we're further along in pre-season than them. Outside of that, we need a lot of luck and a lot of individual talent.
With the Ducky thing, I'm just looking at performance over
Well,
anything.
the 4 things that we're focusing on prior to the game, the playing out from the back, the final third, the transition and the block. If I see those 4 things, I'll call it a success.
Of course, yeah.
I just want to see everyone sprinting around like headless chickens, giving
Compete.
all the
Full
effort.
Yeah.
All
Compete.
the effort. That's
Compete in every sense, and I'll be happy. But the games against teams in our league, every game outside of Ducky, I think, is a winnable game. So I want to see us go and win, and there's some of them that I expect us to totally dominate and destroy, and I'll be unhappy if I don't see that. But there's a different test in every single one of the games, selected for that reason.
That's what you want, really.
Yeah.
Play different kinds of.
And there's going to be some absolute loons that you come up against as well. There's a Sunday League team which had a documentary about it. for being the worst behaved Sunday League team in England. So we're playing them. So look forward to that.
Right, then that'll be good.
That definitely ended up in a fight. But we need to see it. We're gonna get people abusing us from the sideline.
Oh, yeah.
We might as well do it in our second ever fucking game, haven't we?
Might do, yeah.
100%.
Might as well fucking bring it on. We'll be able to view the matches on a live stream as they are being played. No. We have covered this, I think, in every video. We are subject to the FA's 3 p.m. blackout the same way United are.
It's crazy that.
Mental.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely mental. But that is
Standard,
a
isn't it?
FA rule. What we will do, though, is if you want to join the membership, that's one of the perks of the membership is the full 90-minute match will get uploaded after the game for members, so you can watch the full 90. We're hoping that'll be commentated. At the moment, I think Jay and Scotty, so Scotty and Motty, are going to be on the Ducky one.
That'll be good.
Nice.
I mean, that's a great podcast anyway.
Yeah.
Just with them two just chatting shit at the side of the game, and we're hoping to take them down and record them live. So
Nice.
the reactions from the commentary will be live.
What do we do if the other club just goes, I don't want you recording us?
They can't stop you recording them.
Okay.
Through GDPR. I don't know why Liam didn't then to say that.
Bit of ASMR, eh?
through GDPR.
What if they just go, fuck off, we don't want you recording us?
They can stop us bringing in our shoulder cameras,
Okay.
but our analysis camera,
Right.
You
Cool.
can't do.
I don't think they can do.
Cool.
Yeah.
You can blur people out, it's fine.
And that's another thing we have to sort out as well is releases for the opposition. So yeah, we can't live stream. We also can't live stream until this channel gets to like 100,000 subs and is doing madness on the videos, because we worked out it was about 8 staff to run a live stream.
Yeah, we were figuring it out, and it's
And it
chaos.
has to be a stadium, obviously for mounting the cameras, Wi-Fi, all that sort of shit. So
Yeah,
we would only ever do it for home games anyway, because we don't know from one week, like you're at a school one week, you're in a field in the woods one week, like it's just
can't just put a computer
it's
down.
a
and
big
get going.
operation
Yeah.
to live stream a football match. Now luckily these cameras that we're on here, they can work on fibre optics, and you can have the cables that are plugged into them. We don't use the fibre optic one, we use what's called an SDI, but you can go on a fibre optic. I think it goes up for 40 kilometres in theory. In theory, we could sit here with that deck in there that controls them and run the cable out to the ground from here for most of our games. That's
Mad.
Yeah.
That is mad. We wouldn't do that, obviously.
No.
We would have the deck on site.
Imagine camera getting lost with where the cables are going. Come round an extra building.
I'm at Asda. Yeah. But it means that anyway, basically it's a tiny little headphone wire size wire. And you can run them out to all corners of a football pitch and have our deck control them like Sky would. So if we get into a stadium that facilitates that, we'll do that, at least for friendlies and stuff like that. We might even do that if we get the chance for highlights, as we get the staff and stuff like that. But yeah, live streaming them, hashtag under the same thing. Obviously, they're a YouTube football team or football team with a big YouTube presence. They'd love to be able to put more content out like that. 1, it's well hard. 2, it's well expensive. 3, FA just won't let you.
No.
But I spoke to hashtag. I spoke to Neil from hashtag actually during lockdown about a few different things, and they are thinking of doing it for their academy and women's games because they're allowed to do it for them.
Cool.
Are the players on a nutritional plan to maximise performance?
Few of them have spoken to Keno.
They're not. No, not as a compulsory one, but Keno offered.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
some of them have contacted Keno. I don't know who they are. What attributes have I looked for when recruiting coaching staff? Being local. Because you'd be amazed how many people have hit me up and like, I'm in Miami and can I come and coach? And you're like,
Yeah, of course you can. Just have a
can you
flight.
get to Drozen on Tuesday night?
He's
no,
lying. I
well,
actually was
fucking
flown
no
in.
then.
He actually flew me in from
Yeah.
India. He's lying.
Attributes for the coaching staff, qualifications really. At the level we're at now, I'm looking for people that are on the way up to where they want to be. All of the lads that we've got in terms of coaches want to be professional coaches. This isn't a hobby for any of these lot. This is career for all of these lot. So these are helping prop me up. I'm managing. We do have discussions about stuff, but I decide what we're doing, whether there's acceptance from everybody or not. I still decide if we're doing it. But more than likely, everyone's generally got the same kind of vibe. But, there's a couple of things people disagree on, but generally we're on the same page in terms of how we need to play. Like we've all looked at the team, haven't we? And no one's gone, well, I think we should play route one with 5'4" forwards. So it's fairly straightforward and obvious. So yeah, attributes have just been, I know that these lads are doing it for a career, and we'll see how it goes as we go forward. There's plenty of time to sack Karthik.
Is that going to be the new one now?
Yeah, sack Karthik.
Hashtag Karthik out.
Karthik out. How are things looking in terms of sponsorships for the team? Well, one of the patrons, actually, Lee, is sponsoring us. So the back of the shirts will be sponsored by Lee's Scaffold Design Company. The sleeve and the front of the shirt is still available. We've had conversations with a lot of people, should we say, but I'm a bit picky over what goes on the front of the shirt. It was going to be Football Manager, but that sort of fell through, which is a nightmare because with the name of the documentary,
it
was a bit good, wasn't it?
So good.
And the whole concept of starting a club. There's others what we talk like supplement companies and stuff like that. But for me, it really does need to be a global thing, seeing as though we are a global local football team.
Yep.
So that's what I'm looking for.
Global local.
Local.
What does a recruitment process look like for a team such as yours? It looks like bang a tweet out with a form, get loads of spam on it, and sit there deleting all the fuckers that are off the red. Hiya, I live in Perth. Can I come and play for you? No. Probably 10% of the applicants were not within 50 miles of getting. Even people like, I'm in Edinburgh. Okay.
Do you want to travel down 3 times a week?
Yeah, that's a long commute, brother. Although Richie drives from Leeds.
It's a good shift, that.
If you've got that level of commitment, you can do it. But you ain't coming from New York.
No.
3 times a week.
You can try, but it's,
fair fucks to you if you are.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And if you are, sponsor us instead. It's much easier.
Got that kind of money to sponsor us.
And so in terms of the recruitment process, obviously we had a trial back in January, which feels years ago.
Is that January?
Yeah, doesn't that feel a long time ago now?
No.
January.
Yeah,
So we had a trial back in January. We took on pretty much everyone from that trial. We created a bit of a training group together, which almost was just allowing us to sort of work together as a coaching team and start the planning process. Yeah. Even though we was like, okay, this isn't perfect, there's holes in this, we know we've got enough to put out a team come whenever the start of the season is. So that served that purpose. Right, we know we've got a squad, we do need to improve it, there's holes in the squad we've got to plug, so let's go and plug those holes. And then it's just an eye thing, isn't it? You look at him and you go, well, he's better than him.
Yeah.
It's
easy.
So it's we'll get a load of people down. We'll try them against each other in training. And the cream rises to the top generally. Where does Karthik want to end up coaching wise? Dream job.
Well, the dream is obviously go to the professional game, so a coaching job at a professional level. But the dream would be obviously managing a big club in the Premier League, because I don't think there's ever been an Indian origin manager at that level.
Would you take me with you?
Of course I would be. But I don't think there's ever been one at that level, so that's obviously the end goal. But I'm patient enough to know that it's not going to happen as soon as some people might think. It's going to take a long time, because I'm still on my level 1 at the minute, and I'm being patient enough to wait for the opportunity to do my level 2, my UEFA B. Which hopefully the club will pay for. But yeah, so that's the dream. But for now, the basic one is get into a professional club, coach at that level. Yeah.
Where's yours, Pete?
I'd really like to, don't get me wrong, and it'll probably come about when I'm about 55, 60, but same as Karthik, where I'd really like to work for a professional football club, like in the first team. And obviously, like, everybody is really, really, really passionate about football. It's always good to see, but it takes time to get to the very top, and I think everybody can appreciate that. So that's the end goal. But for now, up the paddock.
Up the fucking paddock, yeah. I don't have an idea of moving on anywhere from paddock, to be honest. Like, it isn't my ambition to be a coach. It's like I love football that much that I wanted to see what would happen if we did this. And I do want to learn more about the game to help me analysing the game. I certainly wouldn't fucking turn down any opportunity, but I'd love to work at maybe like an academy director somewhere, because I've got some ideas from things I've read and my own ideas of things that I think could be improved at different places, and I'll put them in place here and I'll prove that they work here.
In a couple of years, we could be the professional team
That's what
that
I mean.
we're all dreaming about.
If Paddock got to that level, I'm not.
Well, I mean, you can't ever put a limit on anything, but I would be very happy with Paddock being the level Droylsden, Kurz and Ashton are. I don't want Paddock to be a championship, which I know is mental to say anyway, but I don't want that. I've got a professional team that I follow. We'll never replace that. We'll never replace that.
Nope.
I would be very happy being a strong community club that gives players a second chance that have been bombed out of academies at 18, 19 and fires them back up into the league after 6 months on a pro contract. I'd be very happy if we had do you know the reputation Fletcher Moss have got?
Yeah.
How good would it be in 10 years' time if people are like, yeah, he came through Paddock? How many players would there's 27 players in the Premier League that came through Paddock's academy, or junior club even.
Yep.
That I would have such a source of pride in, and I think that's something that's achievable because Fletcher Moss is just Fletcher Moss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It isn't attached to a Premier League team. It's just a junior club with a fantastic reputation. Same as Wallsend Boys Club in Newcastle, or Gateshead it might be. Has got that similar sort of reputation. You can do that, and I think there's a lot of clubs with a phenomenal amount of players, 40, 50 junior sides, 4 or 5 at every age group, that I think because they end up with a lot of dad coaches, and that's how I started myself really, as a dad coach. That's what happens. There's a team with a coach fucks off, and they all go, well, you do it. Fucking hell, all right. And that's how a lot of people end up, and then you end up on a level 1 and blah, blah, blah. But I think there's far too many clubs that are run like that, where the people are doing it to do it rather than doing it because it's part of a long-term goal. Jaden at 7 had a professional coach. He had about 10 teams. He had like an under-13s girls, under-15s lads. He coached a bit at City, blah, blah, blah. And he left because he got a job coaching in the MLS. That was a coach. And the sessions, the difference in the sessions he delivered versus what I delivered or any other dad coach delivered were what you would expect for a guy that got a full-time job in the MLS.
And going back to going to America, a load of my mates do the junior coaching over there, and it's a completely different thing. A lot of it is because of the money. They get paid to do it, so you have to pay to be in the academy, which is it's not the norm here. You pay your subs and stuff, but it's not the same level. But my mates, like you said, they run 5 or 6 teams, maybe in terms of training on a night, and then they have 2 or 3 teams that they go for tournaments and match days with, and they're at a much better level. They were ex-college, university players that were very good. Could probably a lot of them gone semi-pro or pro that are now coaching kids, and that's a much better thing than having a dad who doesn't know what he's doing or a dad who's going to shout at the kids running the thing. And that's
it's not even his heart in it. He's just doing it so his kid's got a team still, and that's not necessarily the right attitude.
And that's kind of the argument with it all, is that there needs to be more money in it so you can afford to pay lads. It doesn't have to be loads, but these lads, if you're going to go down and do it, it has to be done, especially with the kids coaching, and that just doesn't happen. So you end up with volunteers, you end up with dads, and that's where it kind of sticks.
I think with the way we're set up and everything, there is such a big professionalism to it. So I think down the line, when you're talking about Paddock Academy and stuff like that, and everything that we do, it has a standard, it has professionalism. It's not just the turn up and it's a dad coaching somebody or blowing a whistle, running about. I know that's me most nights when we train, but
with the cap on.
Yeah, with the cap on.
Or it's your captain that, I've done Sunday League stuff, and your captain kind of runs a session. He does 5 minutes for passenger drill, 10 minutes running, then right, should we play then?
Yeah.
That's what it is, and that's what most level is it.
But that's what I mean, like the standard of this compared to quite a lot of maybe the teams will go against. It's no disrespect to them, where we just want to set up differently.
we've got our eyes on this being a counties club in a few years.
We've got the facilities, we've got the coaches, analysts, nutritionists, everything. So
we've got culture in place as well, which is quite important. We're working on having a set club culture that Steve's obviously going to form and deliver to the players at some point. But I think that's quite important.
Fucking week earlier than I planned.
That's quite important as well, because
can someone get me an extra 12 hours a day?
It's not work. It's not happening.
It doesn't work.
It's all right. United stop playing football soon, so that'll make things.
That's helpful. Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah.
But then we get about a week off, I think, and then back.
And then we've got about another 5 games potentially.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, at least 2, I think, unless it goes well wrong.
To lose 6-0 to fucking last.
But yeah, I think the idea of I think we're going to have the piss taken out of us for taking it a bit too seriously by some people.
Okay.
Yeah, arsed.
Yeah.
Double
If we
arsed.
slap you about,
Don't care.
we're the ones going to be laughing.
The only nightmare is when that team, who literally downs a pint and then goes and buries you, takes the piss out of you, you've got no comeback.
Yeah.
So we have to be mint.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we will be by the time football's fully back open and competitive again. I think we will be ready.
Yeah, I think I don't know the standard of the league. We're going into this quite blind. From what I've seen, I'll be shocked if we're not in the mixer at the top of the league. I think we're good enough to be. Just based on what I've seen, and obviously it's quite an unknown what we're coming up against. But from what I've seen, I can't imagine there's going to be too many of us level of teams in our division, and I'm open to being proved fucking well wrong. But from the conversations I've had, like my mate's the manager at Ducky, which is why we're playing them. I wouldn't, if I didn't know him, I wouldn't just randomly phone up the best team in an area and be like, "Aya, can you come and fuck us about for a bit?" He's coming training tomorrow as well, actually, so he can see what standard we're at, and he's going to give us an honest view. But from the conversations I've had with him, where he's gone, this is about the standard of our league, I'm not worried. And I think we can be competitive. This video comes out after we might have already been shagged by them, by the way.
Does it?
Yeah, it comes out on Saturday.
Okay.
Or maybe Friday. But whatever. But yeah, I think you're right in terms of where we're trying to be. One of the things that I am passionate about, and something I talk about when I'm talking United, is always, Joe, giving your youngsters an opportunity. We've got a very young side, a lot of even 16, 17-year-olds in our side, and they're good.
Yeah.
They're very good.
Yeah.
The ones we've got are very, very good. Some of them in shout have been.
Even like Connor, who's 18, 19. Like
He might be
Aaron,
17, actually.
Is he?
He's young.
Aaron just turned 17 as well, so it's like, if they can grow.
Mason's just turned 16.
They're going to be moving up leagues pretty fast.
Yeah, let's hope we can take
Hopefully
them with us,
Yeah,
rather than say see you to them.
If they grow with us, then we've got one hell of a team.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the hardest parts about being a coach and wanting to stay with somebody and everything else is you're doing your job right if they
You
go
get
to the
taken away,
next.
yeah.
And it's
But I think we
sort
all
of
know
gutting.
we're losing one for sure this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one player that we're for sure not going to see at the end of this season. And I said I'm happy to pay for some private coaching with him, with Ryan.
Yeah.
And I spoke to a few of them and said, the 16, 17-year-olds, Luke, Aaron, Mason, a couple of us, maybe Ollie. I'm happy to put an extra session that I'll pay for with Ryan for them guys to develop, because I think those guys have
You're
got
paying coaches now?
for them to do a session. But yeah, I think those guys would benefit, especially when they're working with the guy that's works with Bruno. I think it'd be very interesting to see what impact that has on those. But going forward as a club, I want what Fletcher Moss have. I want that reputation where people go, I might be 7 miles away from where they train, but I'm going to fucking go there because that's where the best coaching is.
Yeah.
The best teams in the area are there. I want that. And I actually think, I was having a convo with my dad the other day, and it turns out we can't get the stadium that I was after. Turns out the reason for that is because the pitch isn't FA standard.
Really? Oh, okay.
Shocked. Bellevue, it's too small. It's not.
Okay.
It's not. It's 16
I'm
square meters too
heartbroken.
short. Didn't know.
No,
Heartbroken.
I
love Bellevue.
I'm at Bellevue a lot with uni and stuff.
Yeah,
So
we're there all the time.
yeah, the like UCFB's team used to play there, and like a question the pitch size sometimes, but I never knew it was not.
Yeah, it's
All the
size.
lines are confusing as well on there.
Yeah,
it's
there's
loads of
like
different
American
colours, isn't it?
football pitch lines and like hockey lines.
That would never
and
have been
a
allowed.
9-a-side and all sorts.
They'd have said you have to get rid of them, and they wouldn't have agreed to do it. So.
Well, I was moaning, saying like, I can't fucking get hold of this stadium that I
Yeah.
want. My dad went, you fucking started a club 6 months ago. He goes, you're in a league, you've got a load of players. He goes, you've got sponsorship. He goes, you've got fucking kits, people are buying them. He's like,
Calm down.
shut the fuck up,
Respect
moaning
it.
basically. And I was like, yeah. And our backup is a stadium anyway.
Mm.
It's just not in the area I want it in. And I was like, yeah, fair one.
To start.
It'll be fine.
To start.
I may or may not have ordered a box of 50 flares. Come see me if you're at a match.
Paddock, Pyro, Pints.
The last
a
one then
paddle.
is Christian. He says, have you got a specific formation you'd like to play, and if so, why? 4-3-3. Why? It's my favourite formation. I think it offers
4-3-3.
balance.
Yeah.
I don't really like the 4-2-3-1. I often find it isolates your striker, and you need a world-class number 10 like a Bruno Fernandes to make it work. I like the balance of a 4-3-3. It easily slots into a 4-5-1 if you're getting battered a little bit. It offers a lot of support to the striker. It's very flexible going from attack to defence.
It also fits what we've got as well.
It does fit what we've got in terms of personnel. I do like 2 striker systems. I wouldn't necessarily rule out a 3-5-2 at some point, but for now, 4-3-3.
I can see that working.
We've
To
got
be
a few.
fair, yeah.
Especially with what we've got.
Yeah.
Righty, thank you guys again for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. Al, you was talking about doing a podcast with Keno, weren't you?
Yeah, I was thinking about doing something where it's just literally we'll go through different aspects of fitness and everything all around football. So very much Q&A, very much informational about everything around football, fitness, nutrition, pre-game, post-game. So if people fancy that, if people want that, just that, it wouldn't be maybe specific to us. It's going to be a lot more general.
Yeah,
and it's
maybe
something that
even
our players can
interview
and get
people
some,
in the realm and that.
yeah. So again,
Sounds
something for
interesting.
Keno to learn as well, something for me to learn, players to learn, and hopefully other people to learn as well. So we might be doing something along them lines.
So yeah, we are holding our trial now on the 2nd of August. It's coming thick and fast now. On the back end of that, there's like half a dozen friendlies already booked in. We're already booked up to the 5th of September. I don't know the start date of the league just yet. I believe it's probably around the 15th of September. So I'm probably going to leave that free. Let everyone heal up from the kick-ins we've probably just about got in pre-season. But as the games come thick and fast, the content's going to start coming thick and fast as well. We've been in sort of a holding pattern while the takeover with FTD happens. But, you know, this is it now. We are playing football. We have friendlies booked in. We have a team. If they said to us, you have to go with what you've got right now, okay, cool.
I think that's a decent team anyway.
It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
There's no dramas there.
So, cheers for joining us, and let's enjoy the ride.
Hendo's lifting the cup tonight.
Oh, fuck off.
Cut that.